Good afternoon and welcome to BluMoon Books and Vinyl. Today we are pleased to host our first sci-fi author, Elizabeth Povarova Simpson. Her new novel, The Red Rocks, is set after a world tragedy in 2040. And now our author.
Hi everybody, I'm Elizabeth, the author of The Red Rocks, and I wanted to start off by thanking Lene, Patrick, and Jenna for having us here today at BluMoon Books. So I also wanted to thank all of you here for coming out today. It means the world to me that you guys are here for my first signing and reading. And I'm going to start off with telling everybody a little bit about myself, then a little bit about the book, and then I'll read a short excerpt and have some time for Q&A. So for as long as I've known, I've always wanted to be a writer. From doing Grease 3 in 6th grade to writing a short fairy tale in 8th. I always also knew that a book would be on the horizon. And at first, I thought my first book would be a memoir, mainly because of my background. So I moved from Russia here to the United States when I was 8 years old. And growing up, going from Moscow, Russia, to the Bay Area, had some crazy experiences along the way. They are two opposite worlds. And even though I didn't write a memoir, in The Red Rocks, there are two opposite worlds. So, The Red Rocks, the opposite is an electricity-free zone that was created by the government. Oh, sorry. So the Red Rocks is an electricity-free zone that was created by the government so people would have an oasis, somewhere to escape this overwhelming technology and invasion of advertising that is so prominent in the rest of the world. So the excerpt that I'm going to read today, hang on, let me find my place.
You're with friends.
So the excerpt that I'm going to read today has two main characters in it, Bill and Jake. And at this point, Bill had found Jake stranded in the middle of the desert. So they've been on the road for only about a day. And Bill is a little bit older than Jake, and he's more wiser, calmer. And Jake is a little bit younger, and he's a little bit all over the place. So they're traveling on the way basically from the desert to the nearest town in the Red Rocks. And I will begin. So August 2060, present day, Bill Voss, the Red Rocks, rode to Livingsworth, Nevada. Bill and Jake rode for the next 3 days, not a soul in sight. They spoke only when necessary, keeping their focus and energy on the road. On day 4, running low on water, they crossed the highway to get to the river. Horseshit, old canteens, and animal bones were scattered on the sides. Bill hated highways, finding it safer to follow the same route a few miles out. They made their way down a rocky hill to the river and found it dry. Bill knew it would be, but he had to try for Jake. He didn't know why, he just had to. On day 5, Bill began to worry. The heat exhaustion was getting to Jake. Jake would not stop talking. Bill lined Jake's hat with cooling bandages and told him not to take it off. You know, Bill, you have it all together. I have nothing together. I think you know how to live. Wow. I think you know how to live. You know how to do everything right. What do I know about life bouncing from one place to the next? I don't have a home. Do you have a home? Bill sighed, knowing Jake wasn't looking for a response. And you know what else? Have you ever wondered about the no S on the Red Rock notes? I heard the Treasury Department forgot the S in the first print, and then they were like, screw it, no one will notice, and just kept printing the notes. What a joke. Is that a rabbit? Bill looked over at the crumbly tree stump Jake was pointing to. No, he cleared his throat. Damn, oh well. Anyways, you know what else? Bill clenched his teeth. I was so young when they sent me away, and my mom, oh God, I love my mom. Shh, Bill said, and pointed at the structure that was hidden behind a cluster of shrubs. What's that? Jake asked, his voice bubbly like a child's. Let's go take a look, said Bill. They slipped off the horse, and Bill grabbed Jake's arm carefully and quietly, he warned. They walked through the wiry grass its blades jabbing and scratching through threadbare jeans. As they got closer, Bill put his hand down his leather gun belt. If it's abandoned, let's hope there's water, Bill thought. If not, Bill bent a tree branch out of his way and a few leaves fell to the ground. Crack! The branch broke and a starter deer ran off. Shit, Bill said, come on. He motioned for Jake to follow him. Through the brush was a small clearing with stop-down turf. A rawhide teepee surrounded by wooden poles sat in the middle. The sound of dried grass crumpling and twigs breaking droned from the bushes behind the teepee. Should we check for supplies? Jake asked, but Bill gestured for him to back away. A metallic stench rose from the ground. Jake mumbled something under his breath and walked to the side of the teepee. Bill noticed him sway. He looked unglued in his pink hat. Oh, shit. Jake's tone was just above a whisper. What? Bill walked over to Jake and examined the poles surrounding the tent. Stakes, not poles. The blood glistened fresh, as if the wood had been doused a few hours ago. What you doing there? A man materialized from the shrubbery. He had a white beard and wore a red-stained shirt paired with camouflage pants. We don't want no trouble, Bill responded, one hand on his gun and the other on the rim of his hat. They all of them want trouble, the man declared and moved forward. Bill stood his ground and changed his speech, hoping to better relate to the bearded man. Let us go in peace, and we say nothing about you. We don't need nothing from you. No one ever needs anything. The man leaped at Bill, knocking him over, the gun falling from his hand. Then the old man jumped on top of him and punched Bill. You son of a... Before the man could finish his sentence, Bill cracked him in the jaw, knocking out a tooth. A streak of blood colored the bearded man's face from his mouth to his ear. Bill pushed the old man off and hurried to get his gun, but the old man kicked it away. Jake ran at the old man, but the old man slugged him in the gut, and Jake went down. The old man scrambled to his teepee. This can't be good, Bill thought. Bill saw Jake regain his strength and fish for something in his pocket. He heard a continued mumbling coming from Jake's direction. Bill grabbed his hunting knife, raising it in preparation. The old man reappeared with an axe and flailed it towards Jake, but not before Bill tripped him. The axe flew out of his hands in one of the wooden stakes, cracking it down the middle. From lying on his back, the old man flipped to standing, and he waved his fist at Bill and Jake. You're gonna kill me now? You're gonna kill me? He jumped from side to side like a boxer and then stopped and tilted his head. Like I said, we don't want any trouble. Bill kept his stance, knife in hand, ready to strike. Fick you, the old man launched at Bill, whose sidestep swirled and kicked him in the butt. I won't hesitate to use my knife next time, Bill warned, and his knuckles turned white on the knife-bearing hand. No, he won't. Ah! Jake screamed and ran towards the old man, toppled over a branch and somersaulted, nearly hitting one of the stakes. A moment passed, and then Jake burst out laughing and began to roll around on the ground. The old man stared at him and then started to giggle. You guys ain't bounty hunters. You can barely stand on your feet. He looked at Jake and let out another chuckle, shaking his head. Here, come in. Bill didn't move. He looked like he needed recuperation, especially that one over there, fumbling with his pink hat. He snorted. Bill looked over at Jake, looked over at the old man, weighing his options. Come on, I have water. The old man bowed, opening the flap to his teepee. So, same day, this is going to be from Jake's point of view, in the teepee. Oh, the Red Rocks, what a piece of shit, eh? The old man, Pike Turner, sat on a plush rainbow pillow across from Bill and Jake in the teepee. It smelled of suede, and feathered dream catchers of all sizes hung from the top. The air inside was cool. It felt refreshing. Pike had given them water, but now they moved onto his homemade wine. He cultivated his own special dirt, which allowed him to grow grapevines in this hot, dry weather. The wine seemed to have a stunning effect on on the old man. He couldn't stop talking. Jake, now semi-hydrated and his hand rewrapped with the old man's balsam and cloth, quieted down. You know what they call me here? The goddamn banded decapitator. The man chugged from a wooden cup and red droplets settled in his white beard. Jake's eyes widened. You're him? Pause. No. I guess you could say that. Hell, you can say whatever you want. Everybody else does. I kind of like it. Except the fucking bounty hunters. 1 or 2 each month. Gotta run them off as usual. That's why I have the steaks outside. Nothing on there but grape juice, or if I get some animal blood. Now I just hang out here and make wines like the gods. Nuthouse gods, maybe, Jake thought. If the damn government gave a shit about this place and got some real police, there wouldn't be no need for fucking bounty hunters. Bill sat quietly, his eyes dark and face like stone. Pike swayed as he sat there on his fluffy pillow and continued, "This place has turned me into something else. I was going crazy out there with the ads, moved to the Red Rocks, thought I'd get better, but now look at me, alone, fighting off the rest of the world, who believe I'm a killer who takes people's heads off." Jake suppressed a laugh and then asked, "Have you been here long?" "Right after August 6, 2040, around 2042. I came here when they just moved everyone. I remember the train ride here, the step I took through the invisible barrier that the government told me about. I had all my gear, my music player, my phone, my tablet. I thought I'd walk right through and boom, everything would just turn off. But what happened? Nothing. Just nowhere to plug it into and no service. I kept everything until the batteries died, buried it all in my personal altar a mile off. Sometimes I go visit to check if somehow they'll magically turn on." Jake tried to remember when he had gotten to the Red Rocks. Had he brought his stuff with him too, or had his father confiscated everything? A fog surrounded the memory, and he silenced his mind. And then there was a time that a butt-naked woman ran in here and, "Listen, Pike, we appreciate your company, but we need to be heading out," Bill said. Pike's face fell, and he put his head down. "It's not anything to do with you. We just need to get going," Jake chimed in. He looked at Bill, and when Pike hadn't lifted his head, Jake nudged the old man. Snore. "Is he asleep?" Jake asked. Sorry. "Is he asleep?" Jake mouthed and let out a laugh. Bill started to get up. Jake moved over the man and went for the wine container, but Bill shook his head. "Why not?" asked Jake. "He doesn't need it anymore." A louder snore erupted from Pike's nose. "No," Bill said, and then they left. Am I supposed to clap? And I'll open it up for questions or signings or
So I have a
or
question.
shakings.
Yeah. Outside of the Red Rock area,
Yes.
that's where people are inundated by the ads.
Yes.
Now, are the ads actually embedded in their clothing? Because I know that, or is it projected on them? How are the ads, or is it just all around everywhere?
It's all around everywhere. So it is embedded in their clothing. I think at one point, or I know at one point, there's ads that you can even put on your teeth. And then like as you walk down the street, you're basically watching personalized ads pop up all around you. So like you could be walking and a dude or a lady could pop up next to you and be like, "Buy this orange juice," and you're like, you have to press a button for them to like disappear.
Like holograms.
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
That's insane.
That's a great
I
question.
didn't get that far yet. Giving it away.
So the idea is that they're creating revenue by all these ads because
Yes.
people will supposedly be buying from these ads and.
Yes. So anytime somebody sees an ad, or the merchant who's doing the ads will get money. Sorry, the ad company would get money anytime they show an ad to you. Yeah,
That
visually.
you look
It's a
at.
sale.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to follow.
It doesn't even have to create a sale.
No, you just have to see it.
Yeah.
You have to actually have eyes on
Yeah.
it. So to follow up with that, so when Jake's mother just got so overwhelmed with that, so Red Rocks is where you can escape. To
Yes.
pretty much get sane again.
Yes.
So full disclosure, I'm about 3/4 of the way through, so don't spoil this for me. Why didn't she just escape to Red Rocks?
They weren't created back then.
Okay, so Red Rocks wasn't there before she.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's jumping in time within the story.
Yes.
Okay. And is that hard to catch, or you're not?
No.
Okay.
I think it has like more explanation towards the end.
Forward on,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
But you can always ask me. I live next to you.
And what is the year again? Is it 2060?
So 2040 is when the tragedy happens, but the book is set in 2060 and further. Yeah.
What is the tragedy?
Oh, wait. Don't tell.
No
Well,
spoilers.
okay.
Unless she reads
All
it.
right, I'll go because that's why I like so far.
Those are
I'm
awesome
into the book,
questions.
but it's just dropping clues. It's not. I like that because you're making me want to read it because
Oh,
I
good.
want to find the answer.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and shut my ears and you can go ahead and tell her.
Well, is it environmental? Just tell us what type of tragedy, not,
No, that's
no,
good.
don't even tell that.
Don't say it,
You
don't
might
say
be
it.
jumping ahead, you might want to wait. That'd be a good question that can't be answered.
Yes.
I'm just question I'll let others ask
Okay,
first.
yeah.
Yes.
So I noticed as you're reading, like I really enjoy the visual. Like I'm getting a lot of visuals.
Oh, cool.
I wonder if film influenced your writing, and if you
Haha.
have any visions of this becoming a screenplay or film.
Yes. Yes and yes. I won't go into what film exactly influenced it. Like I already had this idea in the back of my head, but there was a movie, I remember watching it. It's like during the afternoon with our friends over, having a few beers, and we watched it and it like clicked. Like I could envision what it looks like. But I won't say the movie. I'll say it to you after.
I was just curious in a more general sense. I wouldn't have even thought like a single film. Although now that you mention it,
Oh no, you're gonna think about it. Darn
Well, like,
it.
the films that I've seen that maybe have parallels with your world, although I'm fascinated by the way ads work in your world and the need to escape them, because really, I mean, I'm a writer, but I have ADD central, and like, I don't have a book published because of it. And there was a little thing on Facebook once where you ask, it tells you how many words you've written on Facebook, and I had written the equivalent of two complete books of The Hobbit.
Oh my gosh.
The Hobbit. Just on
That's
Facebook
awesome.
since
Yeah.
2008.
Wow.
And I went, oh, that's why I'm not getting any editing done on all the stuff I write in my journals, But the whole ads thing, like it really does, like it saps us, it drains us. It's very
Yeah.
to constantly be advertised
Yeah.
to, and they get more and more clever.
It's
and
choice
and
overload.
that
Yeah.
idea,
Processing overload.
that idea of, taking that even further,
Yep.
and with technology advances and stuff is really, I think, visionary and important for us to see. Like, I mean, you're really true to your sci-fi genre in that sense, that you're taking it to the next level so that we can see where we're headed if we're not,
Cognizant
mindful.
about, yeah.
Yeah, cognizant and making more conscious choices, So,
Yeah.
kudos,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for bringing it here.
How does the government interact with the characters in general in the story? I mean, are they overreaching? Is it more of a
I'm all, haha.
democracy still in this world, or is it more of like can you elaborate without divulging? I haven't started it, but I'm curious to know.
I'll make sure to monitor your progress. No, I'm kidding. No. Yeah.
Subtle winning.
But I don't go like too much into the background, but basically the government kind of screws up. This becomes an underfunded project that doesn't have enough people taking care of it, and they really don't care because they're not making any money off the Red Rocks, so they only want to invest in places where they can serve ads as well. So yeah, that's why the Red Rocks become sort of like the wild, wild west. It's very corrupt and dangerous in some places.
So
But yeah.
disenfranchised from the rest of the political sort of country being ruled or run, and this Red Rocks has its sort of separate wildness.
Yeah, it doesn't have its own government though, but like every city will have a marshal, and then the U.S. will like do supply drops, so they'll have drones come out and drop supplies, but they run out of the supplies really quickly, so people end up doing naughty things.
Do you feel like this is the start of a series, or is the book complete? Finished yet, so
So the ending is no. I actually was playing with the idea when I'm ready to write again, because it was a journey that I want to wait to do another time. But I was thinking about setting it more in the in the metropolitans, which is like all where all the ads are.
Yeah.
So if I were to write another one, I think the setting would be in the other opposite world, I guess. So,
Very rural.
so no, the Red Rocks is really rural, and then yeah.
The advertisements.
Yeah, so that would be interesting if I thought. But yes, to answer your question, I think there will be more than one.
Cool.
Once I get rich and famous.
So I recognize some of the names from Nevada and that area, so are you
Yes.
familiar? Out there, are you familiar? Do you like that area?
So, full disclosure, it starts in Gerlach, which is near where Burning Man is, which is a big music festival. And I don't know why I thought of that. I guess we've been there a few times, so like driving through that area is what I imagined the Red Rocks and the beginning scene to be in. So from that, I kind of had to map out everything else. And I've been to some of the cities like Eureka, which is Livingsworth in the book, but I haven't, I kind of went from that starting point and then had to map everything out. Yeah, do Google Maps and stuff like, how long is it gonna take to get here on a horse? if the horse goes 35 miles per hour, per hour, that's too fast. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was really interested in the whole idea of the ads and everything. So when you were thinking of the direction that the book was going to be, did you know it was going to be dystopian? Did you, and I guess to kind of on top of that, did you have the idea of the ads first, or did this come to you later? I'm kind of curious if you knew it would be dystopian, or you knew it was going to be an ad thing, or if it just developed as you started writing it.
Sure. So I knew there was going to be the Wild Wild West, and I knew I wanted to have a futuristic world, and I didn't know that. I think I had an idea of the ads, but that came later, I think, because I also work in advertising.
As I was reading it, I was like, oh.
I'm like, we are terrible people. Yes, Renee.
I just want to share too, when I started it, I was really impressed with the imagery that you created and the vocabulary choices. Because I know you're, both Russian and Americanized, whatever. And so to have that fund of knowledge already, I just felt like the way you wrote it, the words that you chose, I was often just so pleasantly surprised by a word, and I can't bring up one right now from memory. I had to surrender it over a month ago. But what I'm saying is, I do remember that feeling of, wow, she used that. It's just not, you didn't take the easy way out, for, language-wise.
Thank you.
Really nice.
I thought I did. Yeah. No, it's okay.
Surprised by some of the words choice.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you.
It was incredibly descriptive.
Yeah.
It's like as you're going through it, you could feel the temperature. You could just feel the vibe of. You were so incredibly descriptive. So it just really painted a really good picture of every single kind of scene in the book.
Yep.
That's music to my ears.
Visually seen, but also I thought you did really well with describing the emotion of the characters, like Jake and his desperation for his new bow. But I won't say more. Just the emotions of the characters. You could see it in your words. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, that's music to my ears.
Yeah, really.
I had a question just about your process. I'm just curious about kind of what I assume would probably be a daily ritual of writing, and how you fit that in, and how long do you write every day? And then I'm curious also about how did you manage the hugeness of the project of writing an entire novel? Did you map it out on the wall or what? How did you do that?
You should mention your Facebook in the last post you've been doing for the last few weeks.
Thank you. No, I'm actually writing about my process right now through Facebook posts, because I think I had to go, after I finished this, I went through a mental state of being I don't even know what I wrote. I don't know what happened in these last couple of years. I totally blacked out. No, but going back, I had to what did I do? How did I get here? And so At first, I actually I took a lot of breaks between my writing, which like ended up in characters having different names along different points of the book. And it took me, I think, until I really wanted to like get everything together to sort of put all those pieces. And to be honest, the first draft was not that great. I probably did about 13 rewrites of it. And I didn't do it every day just because like work and life and everything. But technically you should, and you should do at least 3 to 4 hours. Because if you're doing writing for 1 or 2 hours a day, it's not like, for me, after 2 hours, that's like really when I get into it. So the last 2 hours would really like, I will just knock like a few pages out right away. But yeah, I would definitely recommend doing a few hours a day if you can, and if you can't, just those bigger blocks. And then it's not like, yeah, you just have to keep going, I guess. There's no easy way to explain how to do it. And also everybody's really different. What I noticed now I joined a bunch of writers groups, which I realized I should have joined beforehand. But yeah, everybody's process is really different. But for the first draft, to be honest, I would just recommend writing everything down. Doesn't matter if it goes, even if it doesn't connect to the rest of the story, just get as much out there as you can and then just work it in. And get an editor. That's like yes, a professional editor is key. And I got a freelancer that I found online who is awesome, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Local? Did you meet face-to-face or online?
No, online. And then I wanted to do local, but it's a little bit more expensive in the Bay Area. So I actually outsourced, he's Canadian, which was interesting. And we mainly emailed back and forth, but he was like, if we need to Skype or whatever, that can.
And how did you choose that person? What was your search criteria?
Well, I wanted to choose somebody that's worked with first-time authors or first-time novelists, and then also somebody who wrote, who's into sci-fi, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Fiction, sci-fi. Those are just like the main key points. And then I also went through a website called something freelancers. Anyway, it's like you actually have to pay to have your listing on there, and it's recommended by several websites. So you're not getting somebody that's like, yeah, I will edit your book, and then like, here's the comma and bye, you know? So it's very important. And if you're interested, I can give you that info.
So I noticed
Yes.
there's a lot of dialogue and just kind of scrolling through. How do you play that out in your head, or do you actually verbalize those to maybe Brent or whoever? And did you draw on any inspiration from anyone that lives on our block? No. Am I Bill?
You're the best looking
What's that disclaimer to put? Any resemblance towards living or dead is.
Oh, yeah. I borrowed that from a Stephen King's book. No, okay. So first of all, in the first draft, there was a lot more dialogue. So that's why I think a screenplay is something that I want to try out. But my editor was like, "You don't need this much dialogue." I'm like, "You don't need this much." I just. But I didn't really. I tried my best not to have a character based on somebody else. There's only one character in there, Bobby, that's based on somebody that I actually know, but everybody else I think picked and chose from people that I know, their traits and everything. But no one on our block, because the book was finished by the time yeah. I'm just kidding, it's all about you. No.
That's cool. Now I told you, I'm the best looking girl. I was just curious about, you said you came from Russia, and I'm curious if your own life experience fed into the characters and the plot and the dichotomy between tech and no tech.
So the dichotomy of two worlds that think completely differently, yes, but not the tech and no tech part. Because maybe a little bit, but no, and not, yeah, probably not that.
So how did that? What is? I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Russia, so I have no idea what your experience was, and how was that? How did that, or your transition to American life?
Influence the book,
How did that feed into the story?
I think I always think that I grew up with I don't know, I guess two opinions for everything and always questioning like my cultural, political, economical views. It was like very confusing growing up as this person. And I feel like in the book there are those two worlds where people are confused and they're like, well, we need the ads to make money, but like we can't handle it as humans. Like we need this oasis too. And there's that confusion because Jake, he does come from the Metropolitans and he remembers his life there. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question very well, but I guess, yeah.
As a biracial person.
It's they all want to be, they all sort of come from the Metropolitans to the Red Rocks, so they kind of both remember their lives here and there. So.
I understand that like confusion of identity and the needs for both, but you know, you kind of have to make choices in life
Yes.
about
Make decisions.
about your own identity. Like, how am I going to identify? You know, to some degree, like when you're a mix. I mean, we're all hodgepodges in some ways, you know? But, except this one guy I know who's like totally European. One guy.
It's Kyle. No.
He's an author, too. And he's the best looking guy.
Thank you so much. Glad.
Who's your favorite character?
That's a secret. I mean, will you like other characters less if I tell you who's my favorite?
No. I know who mine is, but I just didn't know if there's one that, you know, was like that's right.
Bill's my favorite character. Yeah.
So the other thing I noticed when we were just talking about, you know,
I won't say why.
living in two different worlds. It also, the thing I kind of caught on is it doesn't really, and maybe it'll come a little later, but this whole two different worlds of metropolitan, it's like nobody has a cohesive, like, you know, part of the family stayed, it ripped families apart.
Yeah.
Like there's no steady, you know, family. You know, it's very unfortunate. It's like, it's kind of the remnants of this two worlds coming into being, as it has ripped kind of everybody apart, and everybody is kind of just meandering, trying to figure out how do I have a substantial life, you know? So I've just kind of noticed that there's no cohesiveness within the peoples.
Yeah. And like a lot of people are sent away to the Red Rocks to get better, but then never come back.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then Jake's a prime example of that, you know? His dad was looking out and, you know, for the best of him, but then, you know, that happened.
Yeah.
Things happen also.
Yeah.
So, being so successful and young, and you know, you're the up-and-comers, right? Are you gonna do something of a little like maybe Red Rocks Cafe in the hood so we can chill and? We got the brewer.
Yeah.
No Wi-Fi. We got the brewer there. We got
We can do a little advertising to make some money.
Yeah.
Get some Red Rocks T-shirt. You know?
We should have a book party. I mean, but just people everybody brings books. It's only the Red Rocks. Everyone's like, we already have the copy. You gave it to us. Like, no.
Merchandise suggestion. I think I always thought that the sweater with the ads on it was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Is Facebook at all mentioned in this? And it only kind of comes to mind because of everything that's happening, you know, with the privacy constraints. And do you feel like that's kind of where we're headed right now in 2018?
Yeah, it was funny because when I started writing this a few years ago, there were other parts of like the Metropolitans that like were supposed to be crazy, but by the time I finished, it had already happened. And I'm like, okay, that's not very exciting. So I think that's where we're definitely headed. I couldn't use any names like Walmart is in there, but it's not mentioned. I don't know. Keep an eye out. No, but I couldn't use Facebook or anything. I don't know if this will someday get big.
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't want to mention any names and stuff. So.
No, I probably was thinking of Facebook in the back of my mind. I'm like, you know, we're like getting there. You know, especially when you're very descriptive about Jake's mom and what she went through, and then just some of the other characters in the Metropolitan that
just go crazy.
Yeah, I could see it happening.
You're drawing from real life, and it's happening so fast. Technology is influencing our lives in so many ways. Some can see ahead at the things coming that aren't here yet, and some are writing it, you know, just kind of like right as they're absorbing it.
Yeah.
It's just so, it's happening so fast.
That's what
Scary.
I was thinking you're obviously a visionary, and so as a result, you better write your next novel really fast. Because then you'll be ahead of the game.
Or it's gonna be a history book, yeah.
That's gonna be like, oh, this is so powerful.
The next one has to be called Hurry Up.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah.
We're already there.
Yeah.
No time for sleep, hurry up.
Yes.
I
Awesome.
hurry.
I'll take that into consideration.
Amazing.
How many years
So
did it
proud
take you to write?
So when I really started writing it is Brent, do you
When we moved here, right?
Yeah. That's when I started taking it seriously. But
when I first met you, weren't you starting it?
She had it written, she had it finished before we moved here, the first draft.
But it was
When I
the
first met you, though, were you?
I was just writing
That
like
was the first
pages.
draft. Yeah, that was the first
Oh,
draft.
okay,
The green
'cause-
one we had at our house.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so February 2014
Yeah.
was when the first draft was finished, and then like life got in the way. We moved to Sacramento, blah. And then we came back
Editor
here.
worked on your first draft, or was that
No.
something else?
No.
So I thought my first draft was great, and we had we had our buddy stay over with us, and he's an English major. He's a poet, and he read it, and his feedback. And I know he was trying to be like nice, but he was like, Elizabeth. And so he said that he would edit it, but in the end, we kind of both figured out that he just wasn't the right person to it. And I'm glad we figured that out because like his love is for poetry, is for words, where mine is more for like action and crazy sci-fi stuff. So after that, I thought, okay, I just need somebody to give directions to, who can give me directions. So that was kind of.
And what time had lapsed between that first draft, no thanks, appreciate your help, and then you say, well, I have a first draft, and now, did you rewrite something and then send the second draft to the person you chose?
Yeah, it was like the fourth by that time.
Fourth draft.
Yeah.
Influenced by what, though?
Just myself, and then just the one read through that our friend Josh did for us. But it was like just sentences, like changing sentences up.
Okay.
I knew there were it wasn't just that interesting to read. Like each chapter, sometimes there would be just dialogue in the chapter, and people. I remember them being like, "Nothing happens here. You need something to happen in the chapter."
Okay.
So yeah, my editor was really good about sort of just getting everything together.
And if you can remember at all, did you keep track of how much money you spent to do
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What?
$1 billion. No, I'm kidding. So a good editor will be anywhere between 500 and 3,000.
the project? It's project.
Yes. So he was really wonderful because he did 2 passes. So he gave me like a 15-page letter from reading it the first time, editorial letter, and then some edits, but like you actually have to think yourself about where you want the story to go, although he kind of guides you with suggestions, but he's not like, this is what you should do in this chapter. He's like, if you want to do this, you can, but like don't keep it the way it is. If you think about doing it another way, just run it by me first. Like.
So all told, you're thinking, how much did you spend to get this to where you are today?
Between like 2,000 and 3,000
Okay.
in installments. No, I'm kidding. No, but yeah, and then I don't think the goal is for me like to make the money back or anything. I think it's more about like getting an HBO show. No.
Right?
Yes.
So now you need an agent to book you for your
Yes. Oh my gosh, I don't know. We'll see. Well,
Yeah. Do you have a literary agent?
no, I'm not even sure how to go about that.
So I'm just gonna wrap up the filming, but the questions, please keep them coming, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, Elizabeth.